Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing really well. So today's video is going to be a little bit different than normal. If you followed my channel from the start, you know that I usually post Monday afternoons. My videos are about 15 minutes in length, and I'm talking about photography tutorials, on location shoots, things like that. But today I'm going to start a new series, posting Thursday mornings, and these videos are going to be a lot shorter. I'm going to try to keep them kind of 5 minutes or less. They're really just going to be quick tips and tricks about cameras, editing techniques, maybe a gear review or two, things like that. I don't have a name for this series yet, so if you think of a good one, leave it in the comments down below and I'll get to all those. Anyways, I don't want to waffle on too long because I'll already go over my 5 minutes that I've kind of set as my goal here. But today I'm going to talk about three of my favorite Lightroom tips that I wish I had known a lot earlier. And I hope these tips can take your editing from here to here in ideally less than 5 minutes. So the first one is pretty simple, and it's going to really help with your colors and your exposure, and that is just simply changing the background to the image you're editing. So I think the default is this gray, maybe a little bit lighter gray, but if you right click on the background here, you can actually change the color. Always edit with the background white. It's just going to give you a much better idea of the exposure of your image and the colors you're using, and really just help you take that image from screen to print or whatever medium you want that final to be. Change the background to white, it'll help you out a lot. Second tip is the crop tool. The crop tool in Lightroom is super powerful. A shortcut to pull up that crop tool is R. So I'm gonna hit R here. We now have the crop tool up. Here I have the rule of thirds up. I think the rule of thirds is a little overrated. It's still good to use a lot of the time though, but the nice thing about Lightroom is you can actually change that crop tool overlay to all sorts of other things. So if you hit O on your keyboard, it's going to change that overlay. Diagonals, I believe that's actually the golden rule potentially. Another kind of diagonals, triangles intersecting here. And if you go Shift O, you can actually rotate that overlay. Hit O again. Here we have the golden spiral. Again, Shift O can rotate that. O gives us different aspect ratios there. There's just a full grid. Back to the rule of thirds. So using those different overlays when you're cropping your images, finalizing that composition can really help you out, because the rule of thirds is a great one to abide by, but those other crop overlays are really pleasing to the eye. Following that golden swirl or golden spiral into the image, that will really help your image out and really finalize that composition. Because the rule of thirds it gets boring, you know. Don't stick to it. Use these overlays. All right, the final one. I'm going to switch images here. This is an unedited image. I haven't done anything to it yet. And sometimes you really just don't know where to start. You don't know whether to bump up your exposure, bump up your shadows, decrease your shadows, mess with your highlights. Especially if you're just starting out in editing, you don't know where to start. So come down here, hit auto. And don't be ashamed of this. Hit auto, and it really gives you a good starting point. Here it bumped up the contrast a little bit, bumped up my exposure, killed my highlights, bumped up my shadows. It really just brought back a lot of that information. But it's a good starting point. And if you're really stuck for what to do, hit auto, kind of study what they did. You know, how did they bring back that information? Oh, I see they bumped up the shadows. Oh, they killed the highlights a little bit. Things like that. It'll improve your editing, and it gives you a good starting point if you're not sure where to start. But anyways, that'll do it for my 3 tips. I know I ran through that quick, but that was the goal, trying to keep it under 5 minutes. So to kind of summarize and wrap up the video there, change that background color to white. It'll help you out in printing, exposure, colors. Use your crop overlays. Don't just stick to that rule of thirds. R pulls it up, O changes the overlay. Third, hit that auto if you're not sure what to do. Don't be ashamed of it. It gives you a great starting point. Fourth, make sure you hit that like button. Fifth, if you want to go a step further, please hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you all on Monday. Bye.